Hello and welcome back to the Community Conversation with your East Cleveland Public Library. Thanks for joining us. Hope all is well with you and your family. Well, as you notice, me and my guests are wearing pink today. Yes, in honor of October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I have a special presenter here today to share some valuable information with you. Hello, Miss Adams.
Hello, Miss Murray.
It's good to see you.
It's a blessing to see you and to be seen.
Good, good. Thank you for coming in to share some of this important information. Let's get started. What exactly causes breast cancer? What is breast cancer?
Well, statistically, breast cancer is the second most common diagnosed cancer in women. Mm-hmm. And after skin cancer. This is a raised number when it comes to the African American community and our women. So that number is even higher. What you can do, you should receive a mammogram screening every year. And I know there's been often a lot of debates on how often you should receive it. And working where I work at, which is at Anthem, and handling so much of the clinical side of what we call our gaps that we focus on with our members, and I work specifically kind of with the senior population.
Okay.
But having done so much in the community as it relates to mammograms and breast cancer, there's been a lot of debate on how often you should get this mammogram. And because the statistics are so much higher with black women, they say now every year, every 2 years, the age is 40.
Yes.
Then it's 50.
It keeps changing.
It keeps
yes.
changing. And that's the thing that confuses so many people. So my suggestion is always to a side of caution. If you have a family history of any type of cancer.
Yes.
I would never say do it every 2 years. I would say every year. Mm-hmm. I would always suggest as well is that you should not wait till you're 40 if you have a family history.
Okay, that's good.
When you're
advice.
younger and you're under 40, you don't get the traditional mammogram with the x-ray like what we do in the hospitals with the mobile. When you're younger, they like to do the diagnostic. And the diagnostic is more clarity and it can see more because when you're 40 and under, your breasts are still not as developed.
Okay.
So therefore, they like to do the diagnostic mammograms for that age group. But if you're over 40, you get the traditional mammogram. And so one of the things that I also want to say is that 1 in 8 women will develop invasive breast cancer.
And when you say invasive, can you elaborate on that?
Aggressive form.
Okay.
Any type of, there's stage 1, there's stage 2, there's stage 3, and then there's stage 4. Okay. And so the importance of having a mammogram is so that if you do enter any stage, mm-hmm. that you get it at a preventive stage so that you have more of a chance of it being cured, or you go into remission, or you have some chance of it not spreading.
And those stages are predominantly 1 and 2?
The higher occurrence of is 3 and 4.
Yes, okay. So they want to catch it before.
Exactly, mm-hmm. as soon as possible.
Yes.
Okay. And then also mammogram breast changes every 2 years before they can even be felt. So that's why early detection is important. So even when you do a self breast exam, which we encourage, if you do it in the shower, and we often give, shower cards to women to do their self breast exams. I know my OBGYN, when I was, growing as a mature, from puberty to adulthood would do a breast exam on me. And so hopefully your GYN is performing the same service, doing a self breast exam on you, so that they can detect things and see if anything. Because as I shared with when I do talks, is that this is not, we've become very informed and aware about breast cancer now, but back in years ago there was not as much information. And there was not all of the social media, and there was not this way to communicate the information to the population, to the community. So a lot of women didn't do self-breast exams or even took getting a mammogram as serious as it is now. And so that's the unfortunate thing. And so when you do have the mammogram, the important thing is that you're doing it from an early stage and a prevention, and that's what you want. So what I want to talk about as well is how the mammogram is performed. So we've made a lot of advances when it comes, because a lot of women don't want to get it because they feel like their breasts are being smashed or compressed, and it's very painful.
It is very painful.
So what
can be.
It can be.
Yes.
But not anymore.
I know. I tried the new machine.
We have 3D mammography now.
Yes.
And so 3D mammography allows less compression on the breast because the clarity is like having an MRI. It's that clear. And so because of that, there's less compression. Now you still have to squeeze, but the compression of it is not as intense. And so I really want women to understand that, because I've met members and spoken to members in working in my job and over the years that have never had one. And they always say, well, it's not in my family. It's not, it doesn't have to be. No illness, no disease has to be in your family in order for you to get it.
Correct.
And understand that we're living in a society now where food is it's not coming from the earth so much. It's a lot of chemicals and things that are being put into foods. Then we look at our environment.
Yes.
And we look at, they always talk about climate change and what happens, with the fumes and things. And even in our neighborhoods where we may live, all of that impacts our whole well-being. Okay?
Including the microwave. I mean, it's just everything that we do that we don't think about on a regular basis could have some type of impact or effect as it relates to some form of cancer.
Exactly. And so the mammogram typically takes 10 to 15 minutes. One of the wonderful things about Cleveland, Ohio is that we have so many resources here. And this library itself, and being able to have these talks, with you, Karen, and the community allows other people from everywhere to find out what's going on. And so it typically takes 10 to 15 minutes. And one of the things that I love is that they have Mammal Vans, which is who I work with right now with Metro Health, but university is supposed to have one. There's a wonderful group called Women's Diagnostic that has a traveling mammal van. And this allows people who don't want, especially because of COVID now.
Yes.
That presented a lot of challenges. And so, when you talk about women waiting every 2 years to have a mammogram, when we were doing calls during the COVID time, there were so many women who did not get to see a doctor and were having breast issues. And now it's spilled over to now, and who knows where their fate is because they could not get a mammogram.
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't feel, and that's just me, that I would wait every 2 years. And I feel like, when people say, well, I'm 70, I'm 80, I know quite a few women who have been diagnosed with breast cancer in their 80s. So I don't think it's an expiration. It's an expiration as far as death, but I don't think there's an expiration as far as when it comes to illness or disease.
Well, you know what? I know quite a few women who were diagnosed with breast cancer at 60, and it was caught in the early stages, and now they're in their late 70s and their 80s. So
I would suggest to any woman, and you have to always be your own best advocate.
Correct.
And so if you have a doctor who's not willing to go along with you wanting to have one every year, I would suggest that you reconsider and find someone who works with you, because it's your body.
Yes.
Regardless if you have a family history or not, you know, it did not run in our family. And my mom was diagnosed. And so as a result, I was diagnosed. And because of early detection, my doctor, everything was fine. But it impacts you.
Yes.
It impacts you, you know. And as you see the walks with the American Cancer Society, you see Susan G. Komen,
Yes.
you know, and you see all these organizations, you know, My Sister's Keeper, and, you know, so many others that have taken up these platforms because of the severity of it.
Yes.
You know, so like I said, once again, they're doing 3D. So there's really no reason. You can go into the hospital and have it, but I love the Mammal Van approach because I think it's just quicker,
Yes.
it's safer.
Yes.
You pull up, you go in, 15 minutes, you're one and done. Okay? And Metro Health has been doing a phenomenal thing. And so one of the things that I want to promote, which is on the table, is that we're having a wonderful event Sunday, October 24th at Nordstrom's. In honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, my sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, we try and bring awareness in all ways, health-related. And so we've working with Nordstrom to do free bra fittings, as well as we're providing mammograms on October 24th with Metro Health. And so this is just another way for women to come untraditionally on a Sunday and
Yes.
mammogram.
Yes.
You know, why would you not? And so if you need that information, you know, you can find it on our website, which is www.aka-alpha-omega-AO-1917.org, and you can actually fill out the form and send it to us and find out all the information about the event. The other thing that, you know, I just have to give kudos to Anthem, who I work for, in just being able to allow me the opportunity, and so many of our team, to go out and call our members and make sure that our women are receiving their mammogram.
Correct.
No matter if, you know, what health facility it's at, we're calling, we're asking, and we're making it available to them. You know, and that's very important, because sometimes, you know, one of the things that we found with this whole COVID thing is that a lot of our seniors and people live in isolation.
Yes.
I mean, they didn't have anybody to talk to. You know, everything was shut down. So I mean, like, who would you talk to? And so when you get those conversations, you find out that just not mammograms, but it's so many other health things that they may have put off. And then just being able to have a conversation with someone who's willing to listen and they can share, and made them kind of feel like it's okay. And so when I go to my events, you know, my mammogram events, you know, it brings our members so much comfort to have someone there to just, you know, kind of as a buddy or a support, that, you know, they were able to talk to someone and then tell me how the experience was.
Yes.
You know?
And I like that, because I like the telephone calls as well, because that's like a wellness call. Hey, I'm just checking up on you. How's everything? Did you follow up with this? And our seniors / older adult population, they really need it and they appreciate it.
I guess another piece that I want to talk about when it comes to mammograms too is the triple negative breast cancer.
Okay, triple negative
breast cancer. And that's something that we don't really hear a lot about in the community, but of course, Coleman and American Cancer Society, they do a lot of promotion about this, but let me just kind of tell you what that is. There are many types of breast cancer tumors, and this can be described as more of the family disease type. Okay. And so all cancers, breast cancers, they start in the breast, and so they are alike in some ways, but also quite different. And so the way that describe this one is that this starts in the duct or the lobes. Okay. And then it becomes, and then there's different types. Like I said, there's non-invasive and then invasive, you know. And then they look at the labs, and according to whatever that, you know, the labs come back from, that kind of refers to as a single disease.
Okay.
The triple negative. And so there are, you know, different ways that it impacts. And so they say between 13 and 25% of all breast cancers in the U.S. are triple negative.
Wow.
And that's a large number, I think. And
yeah, not to be familiar with hearing that term on a regular basis.
Right. And they say that the research has uncovered that younger women, African American women, Hispanic, and Latino women, as well as those with the BRCA mutation, all kind of have that triple negative. And so when I say the BRCA, let me talk about that a little bit, because I went through that test this year with my mom. So the BRCA test is a very expensive test, and most hospitals, and I can speak for Metro Health, they have a genetics department.
Okay.
And so they approached me about going through that and actually getting tested. It's just a blood test, but it's just very expensive.
Okay.
But what the BRCA test does, and this is BRCA1 mutation, what it does is they test for, like I said, that pathology of what within your genes would show if you have the cancer mutation or not.
Okay.
And so based on me and my mom taking that test, we got the results back that we didn't carry the gene. And that was really interesting to me, and that was a blessing.
Yes.
Okay?
Same time.
Because that's not always, and most times, what comes back, you know. I know a young lady who did that test, and it came back and it was just kind of everywhere, and she's actually no longer here, which is unfortunate. But it's a very important test, and I think that if you do have a high occurrence in your family, I would suggest that you reach out to whatever health facility that you work with to see if they have a genetics department, and if you can get that blood test done. And it's just a blood test, and me and my mom took it earlier this year, and then in a few weeks it came back, and the genetics counselor that worked with us, you know, she was just elated as we were, because that's just a big relief off of you.
Yes, but you stress something that's very important, and that you have to be your own advocate. You have to ask as many questions as possible. You have to retain the information. You have to follow up. You know, you have to change doctors, have several doctors in different areas working with you just to help maintain yourself. So that's a very good point, because some people may say, well, I'm going to rely on the doctor, but you too have a responsibility to keep your health up and take care of yourself, for not just yourself, for your family and other people that love you and are depending on you.
That's very true. Yeah, and you know, like I said, the triple negative is very aggressive. And when I talk about the stage 3 and stage 4, you know, that's what that triple negative is.
Okay.
And sometimes when you hear women on the news that, you know, their family are doing fundraisers, or that's the particular cancer and it comes like a beast. You know, and then you're trying all kinds of the radiation, the chemotherapy, and that's one of the wonderful things about, you know, where we live, and we have all these state-of-the-art hospitals. They, you know, they've made a lot of advances, but you know, cancer is cancer. It's hard. It's hard on the family. It's hard as a caregiver.
Correct.
It's just hard. And so I would tell any woman, you know, if I was to have a conversation with them, that, you know, get your mammogram every year. I say every year. You know, because as we age, we're going to have something.
Challenges.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so, you know, the other thing, and I'll say this, and then Karen, you know, I know we have to wrap up, but I just want you to think about healthy lifestyle choices as well. And when I talk about that, you know, I talk about maintaining a healthy weight. You know, what you eat and what you put in your body dictates a lot of, you know, you hear so many people going towards plant-based and vegan and paleo diets and things. It's important. Also, exercise.
Yes.
One of the things that happened with this whole COVID is that people stopped exercising.
Correct.
And the obesity and BMI is out of this world.
Yes, has increased.
It's ridiculous. The other thing I would say is limit your alcohol intake.
Okay.
You know, if you drink social, just drink social. But a lot of the habits have been heightened.
Yeah, and magnified
Alcohol,
during this time.
Smoking,
Yes.
you know, the mental health, all of that has been heightened since COVID, okay?
Yes.
And then, you know, for women who are going through post-menopause and even menopause, look at that, because the estrogen in our body often shifts a lot of things too.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to be aware of that, you know. Because they say hormones can increase the risk of ovarian cancer and heart disease, you know. So, and then just breast self-awareness, know your risk, get screened, know what is normal for you, and make healthy lifestyle choices. And I think that I'll end on that. Okay. And I thank you so much, Ms. Karen, for inviting me today and me sharing, you know, what little knowledge that I have. This is a passion project for me. Yes. Has been for years now. And if anyone would ever, you know, want me to give any advice or suggestions, I would say, you know, you got my contact number. So
yes,
they can reach out to you.
Yes,
and like I said, support. Get your mammogram. This month we do a lot of attention, but after this month, continue and refer a friend or refer a family member, and then, you know, go with someone if they need that support.
If they need that support. Yeah. Well, I thank you, Miss Adams. Passionate in pink. And the library has many resources about breast cancer awareness, the things that you should know. And we have a wealth of information. And feel free to go to your website and get additional information. Thank you. Take care of yourself and your family.